every 3 weeks or so, when you would call around to the Menzies home in Haverbrack Avenue. It would be about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. At about 5:45, you'd have a drink together. And one day, right out of the blue, he said to me, he said, "Well, young Bob," and I was nearly 60 years of age, "tell me the 3 biggest mistakes I ever made." But of course I had never thought of any mistakes that he'd made, and I certainly didn't want to begin then in his own home. I said that I had never given any thought to the question. He said, "Well, nevertheless, think now." And I said, "Look, I can't extemporise." "No," he said, "I want you to think." So I said, "Well, at your insistence," because it was rude. I said, "The first mistake, I think, is that you really are responsible for consolidating Canberra as the national capital. And you've created in Australia an oligarchy that we can never get at. Doesn't matter what they do to the country, we can't do anything to them." He nodded his head. Then I said, "You accepted the Martin report and helped to create altogether, I think that there were 17 universities in Australia. And I said, it should have been obvious that there weren't enough good academics in Australia to run 7, let alone 17. And this was at the period, of course, of all the Vietnam troubles." And he nodded his head. And then he said, "And what's the third mistake?" And I said, "Well, you created the Liberal Party." And he said, "But they're the only 3 things I ever did."
Commanding the Narrative podcast, which I believe is the #1 podcast in the entire universe.
If you could go through life in the Liberal Party without being expelled, you should be ashamed of yourself.
We will decide who comes to this country and the circumstances in which they come.
Socialists don't like ordinary people choosing, or they might not choose socialism.
120 years ago, our country had the world's highest per capita income. What the hell happened?
The answer is mate, because I want to do you slowly. I want to do you slowly.
Ah! We're coming for you, globalist! Ah! Coming for you!
G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of Commanding the Narrative. My name is Stephen Tripp. Thank you to everyone who is watching this, and if you are watching this live, we want to hear from you. Get in the chat and let us hear your comments or your questions or even attack against Richard. We had a bit of that last week, so more of that would be nice. And if you're really feeling up to it, if you really want to yell at Richard, you can hit that link to StreamYard and call in. We call it Talkback Streaming, like Talkback Radio. You can actually click in and call in and ask a question or have your say or whatever you want to do. So don't be shy. We want to definitely hear from you. The more interactive episodes are the best episodes, and usually with these gentlemen, these episodes tend to be very, very interactive with our great audience. But thank you, Richard, for hosting us again.
Always a pleasure, Stephen.
Mr. Richard Storch, how you been, mate?
I'm good, apart from my neck.
What's wrong with your neck?
I've wrecked it. But anyway, it'll come good.
I don't want to know how. Mr. Sam Buono, welcome again, mate. You've been in hospital.
Yeah, about 10 days ago, I had my gallbladder ripped out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I had stones in there, and a couple of stones were coming out. So about 3 weeks ago, my urologist sent me to another specialist to say, check on the gallbladder, and the bloke said, yeah, your gallbladder's stuffed, and it's okay for next year or two, but it could play up, and if the stones get out of your gallbladder and go into your bile ducts, and that's where it can be a real problem.
Yeah, well, it's always an uncomfortable relationship with the urologist.
Yeah, and I'll make my urologist was my operator from 8 years ago, and I saw him every 2 years, and he said, no, all that sort of stuff. So 10 days later, I got my gallbladder taken out. I was sore for about 3 or 4 days. I thought it'd be okay in 48 hours. When I went in 10 days ago, I was still ginger till about Monday, Tuesday this week.
Well, hopefully no one's eating right now. So hearing about your gallbladder.
Yeah.
Did you get to keep it? Did they put it in a trophy?
No, they
case for you?
I'll see the specialist in 2 weeks' time, and instantly he said, "Here's your pile of rocks."
the ones that were in your head.
That's right. Yeah. I would have said that. They're all the brain cells. You've just taken most of them out.
All right, let's get into it because we've got a bit to discuss. We haven't had you all three on together for a while, or the three of us together. Yeah. And this is a bit of a
just before New Year's.
This is a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. I know it's probably a mistake associating with you two, but these ones I tend to listen to more than the other. I mean, these are my favorite shows. So hopefully the audience, you enjoy these ones with Richard and Sam as well. It's very political orientated, these shows. But I think that's how a lot of you like it. But if you want to keep up to date with everything that we're doing, please head to commandingthenarrative.com. You'll find everything up there on the website, including our previous podcasts, just like the great chat that I had with Victor DL last week. Wag the Dog. It was all about whether or not this war in Iran is hiding or taking the focus off some of the other issues, such as the Epstein files or Netanyahu's corruption proceedings. So check that one out. Victor DL is always very well researched and a great writer and a great podcaster as well. And I always enjoy my conversations with him.
Yeah, fascinating mind.
Yes, he's a great mind. Really is. Also, we had Paul Vallejo on 2 weeks ago talking about alien disclosure. We talked about a whole range of issues on that one. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, check that one out. And the most important one there is the Central West Iran Renewable Energy Zone tour that we did a few weekends ago. And I spoke to a lot of the farmers out there and the property owners about what's happening with the renewables rollout. That one is very important. If you could share that out, if you ever share any of our podcasts, please make it that one. We're trying to get that information out there so people, particularly in the cities, can see what impact these projects are having on people in rural areas and what's happening to their homes, their farmland, their communities, and also some of the families. The families are getting torn apart. Some really sad stories. We didn't get it all on the podcast. Some of the stuff that I was talking to these people behind the scenes was really heartbreaking. But please check that one out and share it as well. If you want to find out, we'll read any of the articles that I write. You'll find it on the website. You'll also find some of these surveys here that you might want to participate in. And if you want to know who's coming up on the podcast this week, head to the website and you'll get all that information with the links and everything like that. And while you're there, please hit the sign up button in the top right hand corner and you'll get the newsletter when I get around to writing it at some point. You'll find it all there on the website. Now, if you want to donate to us and throw us a few dollars, please head to Buy Me a Coffee and you can throw us a few dollars there. It helps to pay for the stream, helps to pay for the website, and most importantly, gives me a very warm and fuzzy feeling inside. So you can do all that there at Buy Me a Coffee. You can also donate to us directly if you want to head to the website and hit the donate button at the top. And if you are listening on Rumble, there's the Rumble tip jar where you can donate cryptocurrency. I don't know what I'd do with it once I got it, but you can do it there. John the Boy says it's a guilty pleasure for us too. There you go. So John, you guys have got a fan in John the Boy. Yep. Now, some exciting stuff happening with Australians for Better Government. So head to the website australiansforbetter.com. Please sign up to be a member. I know a lot of the free memberships that we did originally about a year ago, they're expiring now. So if you did sign up for free membership, you will have to sign up to be a financial member of Australians for Better Government. But if you don't know anything about Australians for Better Government, are you sick of the way Australia is being governed? I think a lot of people are sick of the way that Australia is being governed. So head to the website, find out all our information on our proposals, and also find about this upcoming event, We the People. This is going to be in Cessnock. I know, Richard, you'll be interested in this because I know you're a big fan of Stuart Bonds. So Stuart Bonds is going to be speaking. You're also a big fan of Katie McCallum, who's going to be speaking as well, and also Dr. Christopher Reynolds. So it's going to be a great day of interesting discussions about empowering a new age of government. It's on Sunday, May 3rd at 2 p.m. at the East Cessnock Bowling Club in Cessnock. So please come along. You can get your tickets there at Humanitix. So please head to the website, australiansforbetter.com. And if you're in the area, we'd love to see you. We want to see you there and talk about some interesting stuff when it comes to reforming our system of government. Now, quickly, before we get into things today, I just want to let you know about the Light Australian newspaper. There's a new edition out. This one here, issue 22. And if you go down to page 4, you'll find this article that I've written here. Australians must be given a say on immigration. The politicians have failed us. So please check out that article. It relates to Australians for Better Government. You may find it interesting. So please head to thelightaustralia.com and check that one out. And yesterday, I was on the Mike Ryan show. Mike Ryan is a great man. He's doing a lot of shows. I don't know how he keeps up with all of them. I think this is like the 5th show of his that I've been on. It's called The Country Telegraph, but we were talking about my trip out to Dunedoo and Wellington and what I saw out there. And we talked about some Australian for Better Government stuff. So please support everything that Mike Ryan's doing. You can follow The Country Telegraph on YouTube. He also does The Protagonists, The World Today, a whole host of shows. So check that out as well and see that interview. Right, guys, that's all the housekeeping out of the way. So I've called this one the Great Realignment. Now, it feels like our politics is realigning in this country.
Especially last 2 months with change of leadership.
Yeah, so not so much on the left side of politics, more on the right side of politics.
Correct.
We've got it
so far.
So far, yeah. Okay. So we've got a new Liberal Party leader in Angus Taylor.
Yeah.
And a new Nationals leader now in Matt Canavan, and there's also some surging support for One Nation. So we're going to be talking about all of that today, but I want to talk about Matt Canavan first. So he's defeated Kevin Hogan and Bridget McKenzie in the leadership spill. We don't know the result.
Amazing.
They don't publish the result.
The Nationals are tight on this. No one leaks out what the numbers are.
It
must be real.
But he would have had to win the first round. And that's by getting more than 50%, from what I've been told.
Oh, I didn't know what run. I didn't see. One thing the Nationals do, they don't really leak that sort of stuff out on the votes. I've never. Generally, Libs and Labor leak it all out like sieves, but the Nationals, they keep it pretty quiet and tight.
Yeah. Well, normally you know the numbers.
Yeah.
We don't know that with the Nationals. But
are you surprised? I mean, Bridget McKenzie is not popular. She is someone who does not endear herself to her colleagues.
Well,
I mean, she's got one of the highest staff turnovers of any.
I'm not a fan of hers, to be honest with you. No.
I'm not either.
It might be hard. I read something the other day where one political person in South Australia has gone through 17.
I will get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But I do like Kevin Hogan. He's just not as well known as Canavan.
Well, he's not an extroverted personality like Canavan is. He's very, very intelligent.
Yes.
And he's well informed and very competent.
And of course, we've had him on the podcast before. If you want to check out the archives, you'll find that interview that I did with Kevin Hogan. I guess the disappointing thing of it all is that Kevin Hogan's not the deputy leader of the Nationals anymore. You have this new guy, Darren Chester, who's a MP from Victoria.
From Gippsland.
Yeah, and apparently he's a lefty, I've been told.
No, he's just a show pony. He's
a show pony?
Yeah.
And he's even a worse pick as deputy.
Yeah, he's the sort of guy who sort of floats to the top, like cream, I've never been impressed with him. I think he was a lazy minister.
How about this comment from Nicholas Richard? The early Prime Minister Billy Hughes went through over 100 secretaries. He almost went through 100 parties too, didn't he?
In what sense did he go?
We've started off hot already. Here we go.
Surely not as many as Bob did.
Richard's on the prowl already.
Surely it's not. Surely Bob did more?
Which Bob?
Hawke.
Oh, Bob was prolific. Bob was like, Australia's JFK. he had shifts every day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Now, is Canavan the best choice?
I think it's his only choice.
And the only choice?
Only choice as a salesmanship.
Yeah.
He's smart.
Yeah.
He can go on the ABC. He can go on the Sky News.
Yeah.
He can
People want to
persuade the argument, and he's a very good communicator.
Yeah.
What about within the Nationals, though?
I don't think there is.
No, but like for National supporters, you think they like Canavan? I mean, I think they do.
Oh, yeah, got no doubt about that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think he's likable.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a good move by the National Party.
For Nationals.
I agree with Sam. It's the only move they could make. They're looking at oblivion.
Is it going to hurt him leading the party from the Senate?
Well, I think he'll run downstairs at the next election.
Where?
I think it's Capricornia.
Yeah.
Who's there?
Michelle Landry.
Yeah, Michelle Landry's been minding that seat for him.
They say she's pulling the pin. She hasn't.
She's not exactly a spring chicken,
and she hasn't denied it.
Will this make Canavan a target? Like, for example, if the Teals campaign against him, or
well, good luck in Capricornia. It'd be as popular as the ham sandwich at a Jewish picnic.
So who's the?
or do they take Canavan to Moanoa?
Well, the Littleproud will have to get out of the way.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd leave it until the last possible second to say that he was going to move, just to mess with Canavan.
Yeah,
he's not a very nice person.
I don't think Littleproud will do that to Canavan. I don't think.
Don't you?
Oh no, I don't think so.
No. I don't think there's much love there.
Oh, gee.
I don't think so.
We started 2 world wars within the coalition, and look where they are now.
Yeah, well.
That's compounded. That's why the vote. No doubt, there's 5 or 6% of that vote has gone to One Nation because of the fighting. And I just think they've destroyed themselves the last 9 months. They're in a policy vacuum. They're in a policy vacuum. They don't know if they're after or Martha. No,
I still think most of it's just that most people on the right are really over the 2-party system.
John the Boy says, did you see that clip where Barnaby Joyce was speaking at the press club years ago and said, give me the brains of Canavan any day? Yeah. Well, Canavan was his former staffer.
Chief of staff.
Yeah, so there's definitely a relationship there.
Oh, they're mates to this day. Yeah, they're close mates.
Yeah. Right, so we've got a clip here of Canavan speaking when he was when he won the leadership. Let's hear what he had to say. I mean, it was a pretty short comment, but here we go.
It's tough times out there for Australians. I stood for this role because I think we are losing our country. People are losing their standard of living. They're losing their confidence. We're losing our relaxed and larrikin nature. And we have to fight back for Australians. That's the bad news. The bad news is that things are not going well under this Labor government. The good news though, is that everything we need to solve the problems in front of us right now are here in this country. Everything we need to make Australia the country it was in the past is here in our nation. We have the resources. We have the people. We have the land. We've got the soil. We've got the rain when it comes sometimes. It is a lot right now in Queensland. We've got everything we need here in this country. So all we need to do to revive our great nation is to have more Australia. We need to have.
So that was his comments. He was saying that Australia's on the wrong track. Of course, he's going to say that when you've got a Labor government. But are we on the wrong track? I mean, do you agree with what he had to say?
Definitely. I mean, economically speaking, we've embedded inflation. That's what this government's done in the last year. And that has made every Australian poorer, particularly the Australians without assets.
Mm.
I mean, this is a big problem. You know, we should have learned our lesson in the 70s with the Whitlam government embedding in inflation. And it took Keating to run the economy into a brick wall with the recession for us to actually get rid of embedded inflation.
So that really was the recession we had to have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I mean, you know, the operation was a success. It's a shame about the patient.
Yeah.
I mean, he thought he was a hero for doing it. I mean, you know, nearly 20% interest rates and lots of bankruptcies, lots of unemployment.
Yeah.
And that's what's ahead of us.
Are they hickeys under your scarf there? Is that why you got it all covered up?
No, it's because of my neck.
That's what people normally do when.
Really?
I got that thought in my head. Anyway,
the only problem with
I want to ask you guys.
Canavan's he's got an economics degree.
Yeah.
So he would be looking primarily at that.
But he's not going to be prime minister or treasurer or anything like that.
No.
Why wouldn't he be treasurer? I mean,
he'd probably be a good treasurer.
Often the leader of the Nationals is the treasurer. Doug Anthony was treasurer.
Okay. Well, when was that?
73.
That's
I mean,
a long time ago.
You got to actually have someone with a brain.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Who would be the treasurer? Who's a deputy treasurer at the moment?
Well, the treasurer at the moment is a bloke called Tim Wilson.
Really?
Yeah. Tim Wilson's actually really good because he's a showman.
Yeah.
As treasurer?
Well, You need a good treasurer and a good finance minister. Canavan would probably be a really good finance minister.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably
because he's someone that wouldn't have any trouble saying no.
That's right. And
Yeah, he'd probably be a really good finance minister.
Tell me this. You guys are older, so you've seen more of Australia and how it's changed. Are we on the wrong track? Like,
Definitely.
Do you feel like?
I think
how deep is it?
I think
it's bad.
I think it's.
I mean, if you look at it from the point of view of the average Australian has, if they have no assets, they've seen every dollar that they have and every dollar they're going to earn be debased by about sort of somewhere between 10 and 20% in the last 2 years through inflation.
Yeah.
That's really, really bad. That's putting us backwards sort of 15 years. And that's what they actually mean when they say, "Oh, we're back at sort of
2011
economically," because that's what this government's done. It's taken us backwards to where we were.
Well, Dave says, to be fair, the inflation is also a byproduct of the $300 billion printed during COVID by the LNP. Labor spending it just making a bad problem worse.
Correct.
That is a significant part of it. That's true. But bear in mind that Chalmers thought that the spending during COVID was quite inadequate. He wanted to spend double. And the other thing is that this government's been struck on the arse with rainbow lightning, and it's had record receipts from not just from income tax, but from mining and stuff.
Yeah.
So they have got all this money, and they have spent every cent of it and more, and they've printed it, as Dave just pointed out.
Yeah. Well, think about how much they spent on just the NDIS alone.
No, that's great.
Oh, they ain't finished yet. I mean, this is the thing. It's like they are completely out of control, and then idiots like Bowen and Chalmers get out there and says, "There's no problem."
Tell me about this then. Do you think Labor will be concerned with Canavan now being leader?
They should be.
I think they would try and they'll try set up saying how can a city person vote for a coalition while this person's running out in the bush saying these sort of things?
Good luck
on
with
climate change and all that sort of stuff like that.
Good luck with that.
No, the Teals will love this bloke too.
Good.
I'm just saying.
Let them keep mouthing off. But the thing is that people are going to start noticing the holes in their wallets.
I accept that. Yeah,
it's like this is coming. It's like we're going to have another.
We were saying this at the last election, and Labor won bigger than ever.
Yeah, well, they had lots of help
from who? The Liberals
coalition.
Yeah, well,
okay.
I think this might sound. I think you would have noticed it while you went up to Wellington, Dunedoo. Don't you think there's a divide between the city and the country?
Oh yeah. The country people that I spoke to feel as though they're not being listened to. One of the biggest concerns they had was that there's no consultation. A lot of these people said, "Look, we'd be happy with the transmission lines going through our property, or some wind turbines on our property, provided that we'd been consulted. So instead of the transmission lines going here, put them over there where it would make a lot more sense." But what one of the comments they said, you've got this person in the city just drawing a line on the map, probably never have ever been out to these areas before. They design these projects and it makes no sense.
Designed by some bloke on the 5th floor in Pitt Street.
Exactly. And that's how they feel. That's how they feel out there. They feel, look, if you just talk to us, we're not just opposing these projects because we want to just be NIMBYs or whatever it is. We're happy to work with you. We're happy to consult with you as long as you consult with us. A lot of them just got a letter in the mail saying, high voltage transmission lines are going through your property and lump it or love it.
Lump.
Yeah, whatever. So yes, there's a big divide, and they feel isolated. They feel used. They feel completely alone, and a lot of them are a breaking point. You can see it when you talk to them. They're just broken, and it shouldn't be that way because they've got to work so hard on their farms. It's not like they just sit there all day with their feet up. It's hard work. It's hard work. They've got big properties, like massive big properties, and they're beautiful. And it's so sad. I mean, going to Mike Lyon's property, and he's got wind turbines all around him, and he can't sell his property now because no one wants to be around wind turbines. He can't sleep anymore because of the noise from these turbines. And he's got this beautiful, immaculate house where he hosted us for lunch. And you walk into his kitchen and there's cracks all up and down. Like, we live in Sydney, right? We're used to seeing a few cracks in the walls. Like, it's something that happens. But I've never seen multiple cracks up and down the wall. And I should have got some footage of it, but I felt a bit uneasy. You know, it's his house. You don't want to be filming in inside his house. Yeah. If I ever go back there, I'll probably ask him if I can do it. But he said to me, "We've been here since 1902. We've never had any cracks until the wind turbines came in." And that's just the vibration. Some of the cracks were vertical.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's just the vibration, because you got to think about these things. You got these turbines in the ground, but the base of them is just concrete, and like massive big pads of concrete and steel. Obviously they're moving with the wind. What is that doing to the rocks in the ground? You know, of course there'd be some sort of vibration. I feel it at work. You know, when an excavator's digging, you might be standing 30 meters away, but you feel that vibration when they hammer into the ground.
Yeah.
Where have they done any studies of what impact wind turbines would have vibrational wise on surrounding properties?
Look, I think that's a really great question, but I can tell you the answer, and that is that if they ever have, they've buried them.
Oh, they wouldn't bother. They wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
That's something you'll never see the light of day.
That's right.
The meeting you had at Dunedoo Bowling Club.
Yes.
Were they mostly farmers or townies people?
Yeah.
Farmers. How far did they say?
No, well, I didn't. I mean, I'm always running around like a blue ass fly at these events, trying to keep everything going. I didn't.
Just wonder if they came up from Wellington or
they were all locals. And one of the comments that was made was, a young lady said, "Look, whenever we have events like this, I could almost
see the same people.
Yeah, I can guess the guest list of people who are going to be here because it's always the same people. How do we branch out to the broader community who for people to care about this?" It's like COVID. The only people that really stood up during COVID were the people that were impacted by it. So some of these people, and if you go and watch that footage I've got from the tour. When I was speaking to Pete in Geary, he had the map of, and you got Geary, and I can't remember the name of the other town, but this solar
Wongarbin.
Yeah, that's it. This trust you to know. This solar project dwarfs both towns, both these little towns, right? And they're separated by a distance. And his property, and a lot of the people out there, the three corners, three sides of their property are going to be surrounded by solar panels. And it's like, okay, so they're up in arms because it's right on their doorstep, but someone else living surrounding the area, they probably don't want to be bothered by it. They probably don't like it, but they're not going to form an action group to push back against it. And this is a big problem.
It's probably old NIMBY situation. If the solar panel farm's 2 miles away, well, that's out about reach out the side.
Like it's something that you're like, oh, I don't like it, but I'm not going to
protest.
I'm not going to give up my time because it's very time consuming. You have to put so much, anything politically, you have to put so much effort and time and some of your own resources into doing that. It's time away from your family. It's time away from work to be able to push back against this. And it's such a slow grind. Like you feel like you're doing it for years and you don't get anywhere. People they're not willing to go through that. And the problem is these multinational corporations and government, they know this.
Just grind
and they're just like, we'll just grind you out. We'll just grind you away. So it's a very sad situation. I mean, I do encourage everyone to go out there and have a look at these things because I'm still waiting for the drone footage. I should have just taken my own drone, but I think the drone footage would blow a lot of people away. How vast. I mean, how much?
Why hasn't he downloaded it yet?
Don't get me started. We're dealing with Queenslanders, mate. Right. Okay. So
actually, he's actually from Maitland.
Huh? No, I'm not. You're
just going backwards. You said with the last election, what the difference is now is that with the rise of One Nation, Labor and the Greens have a new adversary to deal with. Are much more motivated and potent.
unpredictable.
Yeah. So the game has changed. They are subject to a lot more scrutiny.
And the big secret that they want to keep a secret is that they're leaking votes to One Nation as well, including the Greens, from what I've heard. I don't know how true it is, but I heard particularly the younger males ditching the Greens and going to One Nation, which is a head scratcher, but it's happening. I mean, from reports, what I've heard, I don't know how true it is.
It's a small percentage, but it is there.
Yeah.
I think it's
probably a big percentage of young guys.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
who don't like the major parties.
Be a small percentage of One Nation's vote, just to make the distinction.
See, I think we're probably going off the subject here. Did you see the last couple of weeks where there was a Labor MP called Julian Hill?
Yeah.
Who put a speech out the other day about called progressive nationalism.
Yeah.
And I think and same as what Malinowskis said the other day, he was been doing some interviews or a lecture about a week ago talking about progressive patriotism, saying that don't call One Nation people deplorables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think deep down their internal polling saying some of these areas in working class areas are starting to say
the attacks of the normal attacks. You're all racists. You're all lunatics. That's not going to work. And if you go and watch that, I think I used it as a cold open once. If you go and watch the John
Howard and John Howard, and I think he spoke about the same thing with Peter Costello as well. If you go and watch that podcast, even the polling that they had from the 1990s when One Nation first started, they knew that One Nation supporters were not racist. They weren't motivated by that issue. I mean, Pauline Hanson, you can say what you want about her, right? It was 10-15%, but it wasn't a majority.
Their main issues were they felt like they were abandoned. They felt like they didn't have a political home. They felt like that the two major parties weren't doing anything in their interests, and they wanted to find an alternative. And that's what One Nation should have always been. Yeah. I know you saw me speak at my first ever speech in Blacktown many years ago, and that was the focus of my speech.
Yeah.
That One Nation, we need a third party in this country, and that should be One Nation. And they've just never been able to do it, but maybe now is the time.
Looks like it's happening already.
Yeah.
Whether anyone likes it or not, it's happening.
Have they got the discipline now? Have they got the? I know if we're going off to.
Does it matter? Really? Does it actually matter if they've got the discipline or not? I don't think it does. It's like
you still got to show discipline.
They make mistakes. I don't think it's going to really work against them anyway.
Well, Dilemma says calling us cookers and bigots for having a separate opinion is just feeding the movement that is using One Nation as its vehicle.
Correct.
I agree. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Just keep pouring it on and see what happens.
Well, as Malinowskis, you call people deplorables. You think I'm going to argue in calling people deplorable?
Yeah. John the Boy says they're starting to see the threat, but it's still a few election cycles till there's a governmental effect. Now, he's saying that comment, and it's feeding into the next clip that I've got. Now, Bridget McKenzie made a real strong attack against One Nation, which
good on her.
Yeah, but
had a girl.
But there was also Canavan had some comments about it as well. So this was from the ABC, of course. Let's see what happens here.
Soon, but the outspoken Queenslander is widely viewed as someone who can take the fight up to One Nation leader Pauline Hanson, her resurgent party currently the Nationals' biggest threat.
I worry about where Pauline would take this country to an area of more division.
Pauline Hanson weighing in, saying Matt Canavan has joined the woke pile-on, choosing to attack One Nation instead of opening the door to working together. The upcoming Farrer by-election set to be a key test for the Nationals' new look leadership.
We won't just be taking it up to Labor. Watch out, One Nation.
Resetting.
So there you go. Okay.
Well, they have to because they've lost their bit of their base, especially other side of the mountain in the country areas. There's no doubt they've lost momentum.
One Nation's real. I mean, it's always the target of everyone.
Stephen, she wouldn't have considered that an attack. She would have just considered that as some sort of neutral comment.
Okay.
Well,
McKenzie,
pretty aggressive, yeah.
I think they've got to win them back. Look, They think, well, we've lost them. We've got to try and win them back. How do we win them back?
How do you attack One Nation, though? Well, how do you attack something that's on the rise? I mean, as we just said, the old arguments of all your racists and bigots, and that might not work this time.
My advice to the coalition.
But I'm talking about all parties.
Well, okay, to all parties. Labor are on the front step with this progressivism. Progressive patriotism is what you said before. Yeah, sorry. Labor are starting to get ahead of the curve because I think, and it'll be interesting what the vote will be in some of the working class areas of Adelaide.
Well, you better watch Labor because the Liberals, as we were talking about last night, as Bernie Finn said,
that's right,
too busy fighting with themselves
that's
to
right.
be able to pivot.
Where Labor can see that, I'm sure their pollsters and the internal polling are saying this One Nation vote is starting. It's motivating Liberals in the coalition, but it's starting to come to working class areas.
And as you said or alluded to before, Richard, Labor have had a pretty easy ride up until now.
Sure.
They've had no opposition really.
No, not really.
No.
So the opposition is gathering under Barnaby and Pauline and Corey Bernardi and some of the other people that they've picked up.
Yeah, and it'll come at them from different directions. They'll get commentary from One Nation, or get commentary from the Libs, commentary from the Nationals, and probably commentary from the Greens as well.
And some of the attacks are probably not going to work. Before you would try and say, oh, okay, Peter Dutton, you've been offensive to certain people, and he'd go to water. Some of the other, he'd probably say that to Angus Taylor, he would go to water as well. I don't have the clip, but Corey Bernardi was being interviewed the other day, and someone asked him, "Oh, you find your comments offensive?" And he says, "I don't care. I could care less. I mean, I could be offended by your question. I could be offended by anything."
Well, he made the remark saying, "If the same-sex marriage 14 years ago, this will lead us to bestiality."
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
He said that 14 years ago. So the dirt file from ALP must have come out that Saturday morning. I saw the eclipse and I said, "What's going on here?" And that's how got into the dirt. Where Corey said, "I don't repent one word."
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buckle like I might have done as a Liberal.
Yep.
Pauline, and I'm on One Nation now, mate. It doesn't worry me if I get elected or not. But I'm not going to. I'm going to hold my ground. The uniparties, as he would call it, or the established media, bad luck. I'm not budging an inch to you people.
John the Boy says, "You don't attack it. You have to step up, put towards proper policies, talk to people on the street, not focus groups."
That's exactly right.
But will they do it?
No, because Liberal Party and Nationals haven't got the ground game to do it these days.
One Nation will, though.
They haven't got enough ground game too.
Well, we'll see.
We've got ourselves in other places like this, but come back to polling. What's happening in England? Reform votes has peaked. It's gone from they were polling about 31, 32% 12 months ago. They've gone back down to about 28, 29.
Yeah.
But the Conservatives have gone up 2 or 3 points. And what I've read is saying that what the Conservative girl has done is stick to policy on economics and stuff like that. So maybe my advice to the coalition is don't attack Pauline and on culture wars. You can't out Pauline.
Yep.
So stick to your core issues.
Yeah.
My advice to the Liberal Party or the coalition, start putting out policies. Don't sit there and do nothing like Dutton did.
Yeah.
Put your policies out between now and Christmas. Get them out there and then campaign on that.
Yeah.
Don't sit on your ass and wait. Don't sit on your backside and wait 6 weeks out before the election.
Sure.
Got some good comments here. I want to read these out. This is from Dilemmas. I'd rather people first, as in the People First Party with Jared Rennick. But One Nation is the only party that has policies that actually address the cost of living now.
Yep.
And then he goes on to say, both Liberals and Labor have done gun reform. One Nation has actually gone out to the ranges in South Australia to talk to shooters. That alone would be enough for me to vote for them. So I think this is a good point. And what he's alluding to is that One Nation have more well-rounded policies. I mean, they have a whole host of policies. They're not just economic policies. They're not just health policies or whatever they might be. when you look at People First, Jared Rennick's party, very good on the economic side of things. I mean, that's his strength.
He's a brilliant. I'll give him this. I don't think he's much of a politician, but as a technocrat on economics, he's very good.
Yeah, and obviously the Libertarian Party, they're off with the fairies. So,
no comment.
So I think this is probably the appeal of the One Nation Party, is that they might not have the best policies. I mean, I think if you're purely looking at economically, okay, the strength is probably to Jared Rennick. The strength is probably to the Libertarians, although they don't talk about it enough. Their economic policies, lowering tax and whatever it might be. Sure. But One Nation have a kind of middle of the road, common sense approach to a lot of different policies, and that people are looking at that and going, hey, they might not be the best and might not be the shiniest toy, but it's more bang for your buck and it makes more sense.
For example,
they're motivated to serve the people.
Yeah.
Which is something that's very different to all the major parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, One Nation is really about serving the country and the people.
John the Boy says, family first, Libertarians, others are being left in the dust.
We are. They're taking all our oxygen. He's completely right.
Yeah. For example, that Barnaby went to the local shooting club at Tamworth the other week.
Yeah.
Went on a shooting range and told them we don't agree with these laws, but they're out there. They're out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's too much appetite for the gun policy side of things.
For country people, it's different.
Well, yes, it is. I mean,
as Barnaby says, I never used to let people on his land, on his property.
Yeah. Well,
now he's letting people on his land to shoot a deer.
Okay, here's an example. When
we're a city person don't give it.
When Albanese and Ho Chi Minh's are out there talking about gun reform, right? And Chris Minns, what would he know about shooting a gun? I mean, he's too much of a pretty boy, trying to fix his hair than shooting a gun or doing anything manly. But you talk to country people, and I was talking to Katie McCallum about this. She'd actually heard, I think it was down in Victoria, they were having, I think it was the floods, and they had to go cull the sheep because they were going to, die. Or
animals they had to put down.
They had to put down a whole, like hundreds and hundreds of animals. And they had about 32 shooters or farmers to go and do that. Now, other people go, okay, well, they've all got a gun each. They go shoot 100 sheep. What's the big deal? And Minns and Albo are talking about, okay, restricting people to only have 2 guns or 1 gun or whatever it might be. They obviously have not shot a gun before, because if you are shooting a gun that many times, the barrel heats up. You can't just rely on that 1 gun. You need multiple guns, because once one gun overheats, you have to grab the other one out and use that one.
Not just that, 1 gun might shoot a pig, but
that's right.
It'll shoot a sheep, but it won't shoot it. It won't kill it.
A 22 might be great for rabbits, but you might need a 223 for
a 2223 to do a pig.
That's right. So this is what they don't understand. These stupid politicians who never leave the capital city or their electorate, and they never go out to the bush. They don't talk to rural people.
That's right.
They don't get this stuff. And I know the SSAA gun club, they said that Minns refused to talk to them or consult with them when he was pushing through his gun laws. Refused to talk to them to even get their perspective. So what would he know about gun reform?
So I don't know if the shooter's got any say in that gun law reform. Borzak, I know Borzak. He votes with them all the time.
Yeah.
He got nothing,
Even recreational shooters have 3 guns. I know my son does.
Yeah, well, I've got 2.
Yeah,
and it's for different purposes. I've got a 223, but I've also got a 22, because 223 is like $1 a bullet.
Yeah.
A 22, it's 20 cents. So if I go to the gun range, I'm taking my 22 and just pop off, a whole bunch of. I mean,
yeah, but if you're a shooter,
but if I was to go hunting, that 22 would probably be useless.
It's useless. If you're on a property and you got a heap of pigs around the place, well, you think your 22 is going to do any damage to a pig? It'll just bounce off. Yeah.
Got a few other comments. The comments are really good today. Thank you, audience. Nicholas says, if Pauline fails to fix the internal dynamics of her party, then they won't have to attack them at all when it all implodes. Now, I mean, you're asking, I mean, it's the chicken becoming before the egg in that statement. You're talking about Pauline fixing the internal when she's been there the whole time. So what's the problem? And is it Pauline who's the problem, or is it the party structure? I mean, it's the same thing, really. You read the Constitution, the power is with Pauline, and that's a lot of the times a big problem.
Yeah. Sure.
Do you think it will happen this time?
The only difference, this is my personal opinion, that they've got corporate donors now.
Yeah.
Yep. All that sort of stuff. When money's coming in, big money from prominent donors, they don't want to be run like an amateur club.
Yeah.
So all of them are going to be pulled in the line and do what they're told. Somebody goes and used to sack or they used to do that. She can't do that anymore. You know.
I mean,
that's why there's a couple of blokes in that. Probably the most. I've said this to you privately, Stephen.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful blokes in One Nation is not Pauline. There's a bloke in Western Australia called Tyrone Whitten.
Yeah, but explain why.
Well,
so he's a senator for Western Australia. Yeah,
and he's not. She obviously he's not from Queensland, so he's got elected via Western Australia.
Yeah,
right? And things can happen, and maybe he doesn't need Pauline, or he can run his own show, and he can pull the thing down. Could you imagine him saying, "I'm resigning from the One Nation, going to crossbench"? What do you think the mainstream media and all the Liberal Party, the coalition?
Well, all the parties, the media, they're waiting for that. They're waiting for that first affection.
They're all waiting for that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
you go on, Richard.
Everyone, every political party, it doesn't matter if you're in state parliament or in federal, they're waiting for someone to fall over.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's where they've got a discipline where Pauline ran it with an iron show. He's got a leash. For example, Tyrone Whitten to say what he wants to say within reason, and let him loose a bit.
I do have to draw attention to the fact that at least in One Nation, people do get a say.
They do?
Yeah, sure they do. Yeah.
How? Have you ever been in One Nation?
They're elected. They have a say, like your friend Tyrone Whitten. So the point.
Well,
is
he got elected. I don't know how much of a say he's got.
Well, they can't just sort of sideline him. Like at the moment, we've got the Labor Party, and they come out with one message. Regardless of how stupid it is, they come out with one message. I mean, look at all the nonsense that Bowen's been talking about with our fuel.
But how long will you survive in One Nation if you disagree with Pauline?
Probably not very long. That's not the point.
But that's where that's where Pauline can't just sack people.
Yeah.
Because remember, you've got donors now. And one major donor don't want to see people getting sacked and bad headlines. So I'm donating to you and you're doing this. It's called a bit of discipline, bit of responsibility.
Yeah.
Let Tyrone do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But look, now let him.
I haven't noticed any great inhibition from Barnaby about what he says.
Well, speaking of Barnaby, I've got this clip, and this ties into obviously he's not a big fan of David Littleproud, never was.
Yeah.
But this is more,
I guess, he's got a brain.
This is asking the question why Littleproud actually stepped down as leader. So let's hear from Barnaby Joyce.
Yes, but this just does not stack up. Okay, it does not comport, as they say. First of all, why did you do an announcement on a Tuesday during the MPI, which is a matter of public importance, that the National Party was speaking on? So it's your party speaking on it. Whilst I was speaking on it, why'd you go out and decide to do a press conference without any of your party around you? Why don't you wait for Friday and say, look, I've got a serious statement to make. I think you'll all know what it is when I say it. I'd really like you all around me whilst I say it. I'm going to say it at 7:30 on Thursday evening. If it was so much that it's got you buggered, and I imagine that's a very unpleasant experience, but if that's the case, well, why didn't you do it before the Farah pre-selection and let a new leader go down to the Farah pre-selection, but you're still the leader, but you weren't actually at the pre-selection, you're in Stanthorpe? Or even better still, seeing you were feeling uncomfortable, why did you do it when Susan stepped down? Because when Susan stepped down, that would allow a clean sheet for the people to go forward. So, sorry, I don't buy this. There's something on here. And
okay, so look, I mean, he's making those comments, but you got to put this in perspective. He's still speaking to a lot of the people within the National Party. He's still friends with Canavan. He's still friends with Colin Boyce. He's still friends with Lou O'Brien. He's hearing stories. He knows exactly why. Littleproud has stood down, and this is what he's alluding to. He obviously can't come out and say it. That's reading between the trees there. I mean, for you guys, why do you think Littleproud?
I mean, that's just hilarious.
Was it just that he was bugging?
I mean, that's hilarious. He made it sound like Littleproud, but busted didn't go to the loo.
Do you think Barnaby regrets leaving now?
No.
So?
No, he's on a winner at the moment. Yeah, he's on a winner at the moment. I don't think he.
He's in a no. I don't think he's in a no-lose situation. He's got a sure spot in the Senate. You think that they get 14% in New South Wales?
Oh yeah,
in the Senate.
But the question is whether he's going to go to the lower house. And
I'm not convinced he can get 45% in New England.
Well, I am actually.
No, I don't think so.
I actually
still rustled on Nationals people in his area. It's more rustled on Nationals in Glen Innes, Inverell, Moree, Gunnedah, not Moree.
Not in Inverell.
You don't think they're rock solid Nationals or Barnaby people?
No, I think that Barnaby will have a much bigger personal vote than you might imagine.
Well, the only judgment say he got 52% in the lower house, and the National Coalition in the Senate in New England got 36.
Got a comment here from M. Sanders, whatever that is. You people forget it's the people who decide where we put our votes, not people talking about politics. Read the room, guys. Well, I think you need to read the room. Stop watching if you're not happy with us talking about politics. You're reading the room wrong.
If you don't like it, mate, switch off.
Yeah. We've got some really great comments here. I got some I want to read out. I'm just this one we will get to the South Australian election. Obviously, Dilemmas is down in South Australia, so it's going to be really interesting to see.
See if you get back. Give us a phone call.
Yeah. Dilemma says all Labor and Liberal do is read the room wrong. Thank you for that. And also Dilemma says Littleproud didn't want to cop the blame for One Nation stealing seats. Well, let's see if actually plays out.
That's got to be right.
Here's a couple other comments. This one's from Nicholas. Sean Bell, who's a senator for One Nation, was ushered into the New South Wales Senate seat without any consultation with New South Wales One Nation, which itself imploded. I know we were there when it. So good comment.
Well, that came down to the trust.
Yeah.
And
we understand. It's anyone that knows One Nation and knows Pauline and Ashby, look at Sean Bell and go, yep, that makes sense.
A loyal staffer, smart,
and he's performing. He's good.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a dud.
And a trust is that word.
Yeah, he's not going to defect, and that's why you bring up Tyrone Whitten because the other guy that got elected, he's rock solid. Yeah. This is going to be interesting. I know you're going to want to comment on this, Sam. John the Boy says, interesting to consider whether Warren Pickering down here in Victoria should wait till the next federal election instead of running in the Victorian state election. Surely he's guaranteed a Senate spot in 2028. It's a big question, isn't it?
2 years is a long time in politics.
Yeah,
he can do both.
He can stand. If he stands in Eastern Victoria, you think they get 14% in Eastern Victoria, 16%. If the polling number.
What's wrong with you? Did they put a when they cut you open, they put like a clock in there to make you shake or something? All people can hear is some jackhammer in the background. Boom, 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 boom. What are you doing?
Sorry.
It's like a dog that's happy wagging his tail. Yeah, but we've talked about
interesting what Warren. Interesting what Warren does. Really interesting what Warren does.
You got to take the prize when it's on offer, right? Because as you said, in 2 years' time, it might all evaporate.
It could evaporate in 10 seconds. No.
Yeah,
it's 9 months out.
I think Warren
do both. He can stand in the state and then he can take leave and contest in the federal.
Yeah.
That's what John Ruddock wanted to do.
Well, I think he's more. Warren Pickering is more of a senator than a state politician.
So is John. I mean, John.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Not really a state politician at all.
Yeah.
Although he is getting a little bit better on some issues, state issues.
He's done well considering. Yeah.
Even me and John don't get on, but the last 6 months, and I was talking to a bloke in Macquarie Street about 2 months ago. He said, I don't like him, but he's improving.
We got a bit off topic, but this is a post that was put out by George Christensen. It says, "Scoop. There would have been more defections from the Nationals if Littleproud didn't resign today." So is this what Barnaby was alluding to?
Maybe, yeah. The problem is they just don't know. So where the Nationals generally are pretty good on the ground, like Barnaby will tell his MPs, go to the pubs on Friday nights and have a few beers at a local country pub and stuff and see what people say. So maybe it's a bit too early. Are they some of those nervous Nellies ready to jump?
I think with some of the Nats in Queensland particularly, I mean, they could hold their seats if they defected to One Nation. Lou O'Brien,
is the South Australian election or the Farah by-election, is that the litmus test? Is that what they're looking for? Instead of polling, they're relying on polling, this is a real poll. An election is the real test.
It's a guide
of where things are. And I think you made this point about Alex Hantick the last time you were on. If he was going to jump, it wouldn't be until after the South Australian election where you can actually see what the results are saying.
That's right. If One Nation polled 10%, he'll stay with the Libs.
Yeah.
If One Nation's 10% and they're 25, well, he ain't going to jump shit.
What's the magic number for him to have to jump?
16.
So if One Nation gets 16%, which is, I mean, you would think that that's achievable based on the current polling.
Based on it, but is it going to hold?
And this is what I was talking to you about last night. I think that if you look at the polling, say for example, One Nation is on 25%. I think you take 10 off that. 15. So it would come down to 15%.
Yeah.
Or 33% would come down to 23%. Yeah. That's my gut feel. I feel like the polls are inflated at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I feel the opposite.
You think it'd be higher?
Yeah.
Historically, it never goes that way.
That's exactly.
Historically,
the One Nation vote. If the One Nation say they're polling, for example, a federal election, they said they were polling 9% with those opinion polls, and that was 6.1% nationally. That's all.
I just think the environment's changed. I think
so quickly in 9 months. That's why I can't work out how quick
it has.
How quick it's collapsed from the coalition side.
A lot of people talking about the South Australian election that's coming up, but we will get to that. But before we do, I want to talk about Farah.
Right.
Now, this is a post that One Nation put out, surprise, surprise, and it's saying that One Nation are ahead in Farah.
Now, that pollster, they're not, UCOMs they're called, they're not the most reliable one.
Okay, so they're not the most reliable, but what they've got is David Farley, who looks very familiar. I don't know if he's run before.
He worked in the agriculture. He used to do public talking in the agriculture.
Yeah,
sector.
he does. I've seen him somewhere before. I don't know where, but it's saying that One Nation are polling at 28.7%, which is an increase of 22.1. Behind him is the Teal, 23.3%, and then the Liberal Party on 19.1, down 24.3. And then, of course, Labor at 9, Nationals at 5, and Greens at almost 4. Now, tell me more about the Teal, Sam.
She ran 9 months ago against Lay and got 20% of the vote.
Okay.
Predominantly in Albury.
Yeah.
In Albury.
Yeah.
Which is 45% of the vote in Albury, or 50% around the surrounds.
You were telling me that you weren't.
I'd like to comment on her.
Okay, go on then.
She's like Kylea Tink. In the Enneagram, they're the same. So she's unambitious, lazy, insubstantial, not particularly bright.
That poll also said the ALP are running. The ALP are not running.
They're not running.
No one. They're not.
They're undead.
They're
they're not even running dead. They're not running at all.
Told not to run dead.
Right.
Yep.
Is it a Melbourne Cup field? I haven't had a look at.
Yeah, the Rennick's running, Family First are running. Don't be surprised.
What about the Libertarians? Are they running? Oh, good. Thank God.
Thank God.
But the Animal Justice will run. They'll put a Melbourne Cup field in to try and split the vote everywhere and see what, and try and win on preferences the other way around. The classic Teal ALP green tactic. Now,
Yeah, Holmes Court's given her $700,000.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that is a huge amount of money for a by-election.
Dilemma says, I think it was Bondi, and people seeing Albo go there alone and Pauline go there and be embraced by the crowd. Or Albo even got booed.
Yep.
Then the flag got burnt. Now it is like Donkey Kong, or is on like Donkey Kong.
Well, I was going to say this. I went to see my dentist on Friday.
Yeah.
In Bondi Junction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one or two clients, one of the 2 or 3 of them died.
Mm.
Some of their clients.
Yeah.
And she's angry. I said, were you at Bondi? He said, no, I wasn't, but a couple of people here died. Couple
Oh,
clients.
so the people that were killed at Bondi were
clients. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he was angry.
Yeah.
You know what she said to me? I said, oh, well, that's happened. He said that, well, I'm voting for Pauline now.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe, yeah.
And this girl, my dentist lady.
But will that anger last 2 years? I mean, as Alan Jones used to say, you have to maintain the rage.
No, it'll last forever. That sort of anger. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's betrayal. That's first order betrayal.
Yeah. Well,
and this is what's driving this sort of surge in support for One Nation. There is a sense of betrayal amongst One Nation voters.
Yeah.
And it's real. And they're justified. And no one in the major parties is giving them any reason not to abate their feelings.
It's without a doubt the Liberal Party has betrayed Conservative voters.
Of course.
Without a doubt.
Well, just proves if Libs are on 19 and One Nation at 25, and say take 4 or 5% out of Labor voters and Green voters, so you're talking 20%. You're talking half of the Liberal Party vote leaving Liberals and going to One Nation.
Yep.
So that tent of Conservatives and moderates.
Yep, that's over.
It's over.
Yep.
Tell me this. We're looking at the polling and you got One Nation, or based on this poll, you're saying it's not very accurate, but based on this poll, you got One Nation ahead and you got the Teals close behind. You're saying, you've said to me that you think that the Teals will win.
Yeah, I don't.
What does this do to the coalition now that they're likely going to lose another seat in Parliament?
They won't lose it.
You think they'll win?
No, One Nation will win it. And that's almost as bad as the Teal winning it.
Yeah. The only reason I think that Teal will win, because that Liberal vote of 19%, for example, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What percentage is going to vote number 2?
Well, the popular theory is that 70% will vote
One
One
Nation.
Nation.
That's what Samara.
I don't think that's right.
What do you think?
I think it'll be much higher than that.
I think it's 50. I think it's 50.
Tell me about the electorate of Farrer. I mean, it takes up basically the whole southern tip of New South Wales along the Victorian border.
Along the Murray,
Yeah.
from Albury all the way to Wentworth.
But that includes Albury. Tell me about Albury.
Two different seats. Albury's a Liberal seat. Murray's a National seat. So it's an amalgamation of the two, basically.
But you think the Teals will do well in Albury?
Yeah, because that's 45% of the voters. And the thing in Albury is there's a lot of public servants, the tax department's there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And some universities, so younger people.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And that's smart on Holmes of Court side. The data geeks would say this is what's happening. This is what's in Albury.
Mm-hmm.
They represent 45% of the electorate. We can start from there. And then now all they're going to do now is go to Griffith and Deniliquin, and you've got probably 60% of the electorate.
Here's a point that you were talking to me about last night as well that John the Boy has raised. Depends on the Liberal national preference flows.
That's exactly right.
So tell me why this is so significant. If One Nation do get ahead of the Liberal and National Party, why is that so significant, especially to pollsters?
Well, where does the preference flows?
Yeah.
And it's not something that has ever been tested before.
Because this is where the interesting part will be with the South Australian election and the Farrer.
Yeah.
There isn't much hard proven evidence of the Nationals or the Liberals not coming second.
Yeah.
There's only the last 2 or 3 elections, there's only been 2 elections.
You mean on the right? So obviously Labor will get ahead of them, but they're always in the two-party preferred. So you never see where their preferences are distributed to.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've only seen two in two elections.
Mm.
Last election was in Hunter, with
Yeah.
Stuart Bonds ran,
Yeah.
and you saw the preference flows there.
Yeah.
And then another one was Marinara,
Yeah.
where the One Nation finished second.
Littleproud, yeah.
But that was from Labor, but this is because Liberals in Marinara were obviously Littleproud was in front.
Yeah.
And Labor preferenced him as well.
Yeah, yeah. But
So-
what we'll see in South Australia, and probably be in Farrer too, is what are the preference flows from the coalition voters, wherever they flow. For example, in South Australia, they think a lot of the working class seats in the northern suburbs of Adelaide, around Elizabeth, there's about 8 or 9 seats north of Adelaide, which is hardcore. They're hardcore Labor areas, and they think. What I've read was that some of the Labor pollsters internally saying that they think that One Nation will finish second in some of those seats.
Okay, I want to get to
won't take votes off Liberal. They think they'll take votes off the Labor Party.
Yeah,
that's why Malinaskis and the bloke in Julian
Hill
have gone by this progressive patriotism
because they're at risk of losing.
Their internal data must say the One Nation vote is biting into our working class.
Well, we know from being within One Nation that they do attract some Labor people, so that's a real thing. But but before we get off Farrer, I want to ask you one last question. Maybe I'll ask this to you, Richard. Can the Farrer by-election hurt Albanese in any way?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're saying no, Sam.
If One Nation wins it, yeah.
That hurts Albanese?
Yeah, it hurts him much more than if the Nationals return it or a Teal gets there.
Why?
Because he's suddenly got a whole nother voice. You know,
it gives One Nation credibility.
Yeah, it gives them another seat in the lower house, and it gives them a platform to attack him with.
For the ALP, elections now is not winning 50% of the vote. It's winning your votes in the right areas. What's called tactical voting.
Yeah.
They're not interested in Farrer. They're more interested in Macarthur.
Yeah.
Western Sydney, Western Melbourne.
The lemma says, Labor for working class. News to me. Guess working class now means working with a laptop.
That's the problem with Labor. And Samaras wrote an article the other day about it.
Yeah.
When you've concentrated, for example, Labor in South Australia have concentrated on the eastern suburbs of Adelaide and on the southern suburbs, which used to be Liberal areas.
Yeah.
They're successfully getting into those inroads. But if you neglect the people in Elizabeth, eventually they'll push back too.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone in the chat's talking about it. South Australian election is on the 21st of March. Pre-polling starts today. So it's already underway in South Australia. Current polling, Sam, tell me about the current polling, and do the Liberals stand a chance?
Well, one news poll put a poll out about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, saying the news poll said that Libs were polling 14%.
14%?
One Nation were polling 24%, and the coalition with, Labor were 35%. But YouGov putting up, they're the two probably most, three main people are, for me, it's YouGov, Newspoll, and Samaras Redbridge. They're probably the top three.
I heard the Libertarians are not running in South Australia, but now I see they are, but they're on a blind ticket.
Yeah,
is that right, Richard?
I don't know anything about it.
I don't care. Okay.
And nor do I care. Because
they've gone to an
unofficial... the worst libertarian in the world.
They've come under... I don't know what they've done, a deal. I don't know if it's done by I don't know who, maybe Bob... There's a bloke called Bob Day.
Yeah.
Who's a part of what's called the Australian Family Party.
Yeah.
And they've got a loose coalition of Libertarian, Rob Cullerton, the Australian Party, what else is there? The Heart Party.
Yeah.
So all those little fringe
groups.
Yeah. Be interesting what happens. It'd be interesting what they think. They probably think in the upper house vote, they probably think that Labor will win 5 or 4, 1 Green. They think deep down, they probably think Libs will win 2 seats. And they probably think Labor wins 2. Liberal, so One Nation win 2 seats.
That's in the upper house. In the lower house, how many seats are on offer?
My personal opinion, I don't think One Nation will win a lower house seat.
Okay, so One Nation don't win a lower house seat,
but
the Liberals.
Well, it depends who you listen. They think that they're going to get a couple of people think they'll get wiped out.
Yeah,
and One Nation will win 1 or 2 seats. I think I read an article by a state reporter who's been on the ground the last month, touring with the Premier and the opposition leader in cities and in the country towns. He thinks that the Liberal swing won't be as bad as it will be. That's what this bloke from 5AA said.
Okay.
I think they'll get wiped out.
You think, yeah, interesting. It's a very no one knows that. That's why everyone's going to be watching midnight Saturday night and say, what's going on here?
No.
Well, the Liberal Party were wiped out in Western Australia.
Exactly.
Now they're saying that they could potentially be wiped out in South Australia. I mean, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this continues, they could be wiped out federally.
My oath.
Yep.
And that's where Canavan might be a problem for the city people, for Liberals, city Liberals. Because the Teals will take up. They're only a couple of short out in Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're looking at the situation as it is now.
Yeah.
Not as it will be in.
Yeah, I accept that, but I'm just saying we're looking at it as of right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, things are in this sort of.
But coming back to
the
Australian Family Party, there's one seat available upstairs.
Yeah.
Because they. Probably whoever the Libertarians thinking, what Bob Day thinking, all that. They think there's a spare spot there, one spot left.
Yeah.
It'll either be a second Green or it could be a third One Nation.
Yeah.
Or an Australian Family Party.
What about Sarah Game?
She's got none in Buckley's.
Oh, we'll get to her. But before we do, we've got some real great comments. That's why I love our audience. John the Boy says Richard should quit the Libertarians.
Never.
And Dilemma says hating the Libertarians makes you the best Libertarian in the world. I love it. More of that, please, guys. What about this one for you, Sam?
Yeah.
Dylan says, has anyone ever been called to be asked how they would vote? I don't know anyone who has. I've had an automated one to actually a few times.
I've had a few automateds from.
But we live in Teal electorate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, Bradfield, you're gonna get called a few times every election.
Although I told a Teal person, don't ring me back, and they've rung me back since.
Have they?
Yeah.
What did you say then, Sam?
In French or plain English.
Dilemma says playing on the edges of stamp duty tax in South Australia is the Liberals' big ticket policy. That's great if you're buying a house, but no representation on the working class with golden cuffs.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have too many clues.
And I think that's maybe the appeal of One Nation. As I said before, it's more of a wider net.
Labor around the country have tried to get into the white collar worker, middle class, ethnic vote.
Yeah.
In the work, they've taken the working class people for granted.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yep.
Now, obviously, it comes back to what those two speeches were from Malinowskis and Julian Hill were.
Yep.
What they do is a bit like what happened with the Muslim vote 18 months ago. They try to get on the front foot. They got that Jerome Riffy to try and neutralise it because they saw polling says that, gee, we're losing 2 or 3% out here in the western suburbs of Sydney. We've got to try and stop it at the source to a point.
A lot of people supporting One Nation in the chat. Is this the big test for them? We've been saying it for weeks.
We've been saying it for months.
South Australia is a big test. A former,
it's not pure. This is not pure. That's South Australia is not pure One Nation territory, but it's just a guide.
Yeah.
The only problem is it's a bit sort of premature.
And Farah's not. Farah's
a bit of a test.
Farah's not pure One Nation territory.
Yeah, but it's still a good test to see which way
because I think that deep down, if One Nation really want to win a federal seat in New South Wales, there's only one seat.
Hunter.
No.
Where?
Parks.
Interesting.
From Narrabri all the way out to Broken Hill.
I had a good local candidate out there that ended up running for another party.
Yeah.
Tell me that when they contacted One Nation to run in Parks, they just didn't get back to them.
All right. Yeah.
So either got to work on that sort of stuff.
Well, maybe they've got their own people now. They've got branches out there.
Yeah, I suppose so. Okay, so the other big story of the South Australian election, because I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Oh, Malinowskis will win, but it's more about the byplay, but in the internal parts of what happens with what's the coalition preferences and
but tell me about this one. This is going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Game tells voters not to put her party first after split with Chris McDermott. It's just hilarious. I laughed so hard when I heard about this. But Sarah Game was the former One Nation upper house member. She resigned from the party over a dispute involving her mother and the party, and she became an independent and set up this Fair Go for Australians party. That she originally had got into a bit of a coalition with Henry Davis, and that it all imploded, and now it's imploded with Chris McDermott. Chris McDermott saying that there was a conflict of communication, and Sarah Game saying that she couldn't contact him by text message or couldn't get in contact with him. Blah blah blah. Tell me more about this, Sam, because. Well, she's put his post out. You can't find the post. I don't know where it's gone. She must have deleted it. But she's telling people not to vote for her own party and to vote for the Liberals.
No, she said it on 5AA.
Oh, okay. That's
where I picked it up the other day.
Okay.
Saying that no, vote for
so
Liberal.
She's still got lower house candidates, and she's telling people not to vote.
There's another one that's dropped out. There's a candidate's dropped out. One of the eastern suburb seats in Adelaide has dropped out at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a mess. It's a mess. And Sarah should be ashamed of herself.
Sarah should be ashamed of herself, really. Why should she be ashamed of herself?
Well, she just can't work. She can't think for herself because it's a mother who runs the show.
What do you think about this, Richard?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I'll tell you what.
She got interviewed on 5AA.
Yeah.
With David Pemberthy. She's got rid of 17 staff.
I've got that clip. Yeah. Let's play that.
Yeah, that's David.
Yeah, I've got that ready to go. Here we go. This is
Sarah
Game on 5AA, which is a big radio station down in
TGB.
Why do so many staffers and candidates seem to quit your party?
Well, certainly I haven't had a lot of staffers quit, actually. I mean, I've had very steady staff over the last number of years now, after a bit of a rocky start at the beginning, finding the right people. But the
rocky start. How many went through? I've been told 17.
Well, no, it wasn't 17, but a lot of them were actually short-term contracts that I had with friends and people like that. After my father died, actually, we went through a period where I just employed people that I knew on short-term contracts. They were all, counted in that, and the vast majority of people that I've worked with, I've had really good relationships with. I did clear out my office shortly before that article came out because a number of really unsatisfactory things had happened, and I certainly don't regret that. And I was very happy and am very happy with the people that I have now.
Has your chief of staff quit, Sarah?
Well, I wouldn't call them a chief of staff. My understanding is that person left to join One Nation, and to work with them.
So they have left you then?
Yes, but it was very, very amicable, and I think it was after almost 2 years of service, and very, very friendly, and left poached, for want of a better word. Yes.
And have you had any talks with the Liberals about, after the election, becoming a Liberal MLC?
No, I definitely have not had any talks of that nature.
Why do so many...
Would they take her? That's the big question. I've got a comment here from TRT, I think that says. Chris McDermott's name was still on the voting form when I voted earlier today. Yeah, see, this is the issue. So because all the registrations already happened, despite the fact that he's pulled the pin from Sarah Game's party, he's still on the ballot. And that's the reason why Sarah's telling people not to vote for her own party, because he's going to still be on the ballot. It's the same thing that happened to Pauline Hanson in Oxley in 1996 when she got disendorsed from the Liberals. It was past the registration process, so she was still
on the ticket
as a Liberal person, and that's I guess you could say why she went so well and got elected. But look, a little bit of background on this. Sarah Game, I always held her in a very high regard. I've been following her since she got elected. She always looked like she worked very, very hard. Her social media back in the early days was great. It was fantastic. And she was getting a lot of cut through. She was getting a lot of policies put through. She was getting a lot of media. She got on the ABC and obviously on 5AA. She was very, very impressive, and we had her on the podcast back then. But as it rolls around to when we had our ABG revival event in Adelaide, Sarah Game was really the first person I thought of to get on board, and obviously we thought about having Alex Antic and Corey Bernardi. We weren't able to get those two, but I did get Sarah Game on the phone, and she agreed to come along and speak. And during that conversation, she said, I've also got Henry Davis. Would you be willing to have him speak at the event as well? And I'm like, well, I don't really know too much about Henry, but if you want him to speak, that's no problem. That's fine. That's no skin off my nose. So we agreed to have Henry on. But as soon as we started putting Sarah's name out there on the poster, I started getting all this feedback from people in South Australia going, oh, no, not Sarah Game. And she's been rubbing people the wrong way. She had a really bad reputation down there from a lot of people. A lot of people said they weren't going to come to our event just because she was announced as a speaker.
Oh, right.
I'm starting to hear all this, and I'm getting people tell me, oh, you can't trust her and blah, blah, blah. Next minute, I get a call or a text or something from her office. I can't remember if it was her directly or from her office saying, can you actually give Henry more time to speak than Sarah at this event? And that's when a little alarm bell went off in my head, because I know how these politicians work. I know, okay, well, he's going to be running at the election. They want to platform him. But what's really going to happen is she's going to pull the pin. And that's exactly what happened 2 weeks before the event. She got one of her staffers to contact us, and she pulled out of the event and said it was for family issues or whatever. Are you falling asleep there, are you? This boring you, is it?
No, I'm just having a bit of trouble staying awake.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You want to have a break?
I might, but anyway, well,
yeah,
keep going.
You're an old man, aren't you?
I am.
So, I mean, this seems to be an ongoing thing with Sarah, unfortunately. I mean, she's only got one more term left after this election. She's not up for re-election this time.
She knows she's gone in 4 years' time. She's going to enjoy it, and she could be a power broker in the upper house.
Well,
they might need her vote.
Is she developing? I mean, she's already developed a bad reputation from what it seems, but is she on a downward spiral?
Well, it looks like she's on a trajectory down.
Yeah.
I think she'll get the election out of the way, and what the numbers might fall. Malinowskis might need her for a number.
She might have the balance of power.
She could.
Okay.
If Labor only win 4 and Greens only win 1, that leaves it. Depends who. Fully know there might be a Liberal person that might rat on and become president. You wouldn't know what the Liberal Party people do.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I want to get your opinion here, boys. This is an article that Mark Neugebauer put out.
All right.
An interesting article. He says, who gets to debate? So obviously they had that big debate on ABC between the Liberal and the Labor Party candidate in South Australia. But if you read the polls, the Liberal Party is going to get wiped out, and One Nation might end up being the opposition down there potentially. And this is the argument that Mark is writing in this article. He's saying if it's the national broadcaster that's getting funding from the government, it's not like if it was Channel 9 and they decided to have the Liberal and the Labor candidate, well, they're a private company. They can have whoever they want. But he's making the argument because it's the ABC, shouldn't they be putting up more candidates from other parties, particularly now that the Liberal Party is so on the nose?
Yeah.
What do you think, Richard?
Oh, totally. I mean, that is our chance to actually get a profile in all the minor parties. It should be a Melbourne Cup field, so that the two major parties actually get their feet held to the fire. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Sam?
The only thing would be is that it's what the polls are saying is One Nation, but let's see in the next 2 years if this vote does hold up. Then you can maybe get One Nation people or minor parties on.
Okay.
Because at the moment it's all opinion polls.
Yeah, okay. But the opinion, but you've said to me, because I obviously I've been putting forward the view that I think it's fabricated, the One Nation support. I don't really understand why it's so high so quickly.
That's
and
right.
You've said, but it's been in so many polls. It's so
consistent.
It's consistent.
That's right.
So, I mean,
I accept that, but let's just see on next Saturday night what really translates.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's say, for example, One Nation win a few seats. The Liberal Party wins no seats.
Yeah.
I mean, going forward, should the debate stage be Liberal, Labor, Nationals, Greens, One Nation?
Yeah,
something like
sure,
that.
Maybe.
Yeah. Would you like? I mean, like a Republican debate when they get 10 people
That's
on
right.
the stage.
Why not have 10 people?
Yeah.
I mean, why should Labor and Liberal have some sort of preeminence?
Yeah.
Why should they?
Yeah.
But this is the problem with the ABC. It's like they don't care. They don't care about their duty to the country or the people. They've got no idea what their purpose is.
Well, their duty is to Liberal and Labor because they fund them.
Well, yeah, to a degree, but it's like I actually don't think they even think about anybody else. It's a totally self-absorbed organisation.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
You know, it's like I don't think there is any comprehension of any higher purpose in the whole organisation. Not any.
Before we get off South Australia, Sam, I know
any predictions. All the boys give us some predictions.
Well, John the boy wants to know about the Family First Party. You got any comments on how Family First will go?
They've got 35 candidates, but I haven't seen anything on their social media where they're campaigning on the ground. I don't. Will that Australian Family Party and the Family First Party mix each other up a bit?
Look, there's a coalition sort of waiting to happen between all the minor parties. And Family First will probably have one toe in and one toe out because they're sort of so fundamentally Christian.
Yeah, well, that's Lyle, because Lyle runs a show.
Yeah.
As Bernie Finn says, it's the Adelaide Mafia, isn't it?
Well, he's not in Adelaide, though. But who is the Adelaide?
Who is the Adelaide Mafia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually they'll form a coalition.
Yeah.
You know, but whether Jerry,
when are they going to fall behind One Nation, like John Ruddick said so many times at all the events he would go to? Let's see who gets out in front and then fall behind them. When is John Ruddick going to be the next One Nation member of the New South Wales Upper House? He would be a good One Nation Upper House member. I think he would be a perfect fit. When's John going to defect from these ragtag mob that he hangs around with and ditch the Rob Cribbs of the world?
Yeah, but they're his ragtag mob.
Jesus.
I'm part of that ragtag mob, as you know.
Yeah. Can you go in and infest One Nation? That would be fun.
Well, we're having a meeting with them on Saturday to watch the South Australian election. We're having a joint meeting.
Between who?
Well, us and One Nation.
Who's in One Nation?
The whole sort of North Sydney Warringah branch.
There's a Warringah branch?
There's a Warringah branch and a Bennelong branch. They're all coming.
You'd think they would contact the former Warringah candidate to say, hey, you got some contacts of former members that could join our branch. You think that would be a smart thing to do, don't you think?
You would, but then again, they probably relied on me to tell you about it.
That didn't happen. All right, boys, that's everything I've got for you. Now, let's wake you up, Richard, and fire you up. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? I know Sam wanted to talk about petrol and diesel and the war. You're never shy of talking about Israel. Is there anything you want to add to your comments? I mean, poor old Victor Deal's still trying to work out what you had to say last week.
No, he just wasn't aware of the Samson Protocol, which is the biggest threat to the future of humanity.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
It's like that's the main reason for supporting Israel and destroying.
So you have to support Israel because they're the biggest threat.
Exactly. I know that did your head in, but that's actually
no, it doesn't do my head in.
That is actually
the
reality.
Stupid argument.
No,
it's like Hitler's the biggest threat, so we should just appease him.
No, that's not the same argument. The argument is that
so if Hitler had nuclear weapons,
yes, we'd have to support him.
We'd have to support him
in attacking the USSR before they attacked him. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. But fortunately we don't have to make choices like
when do you think it'll end? When do you think Trump will pull out?
He won't.
Trump will.
He can't.
I don't think he's going to go in any deeper, and I don't think he'll pull out. I think he'll put a siege onto Iran and wait for it to fall apart, which it will.
Fair enough.
Everyone's got this idea that he's going to go in and put boots on the ground. I don't think that's going to happen.
That would be a disaster.
Well, I don't think it would be, actually, if the boots on the ground were all the neighbours. Like, Iran doesn't have any friends.
Like, well, now they don't now after they bombed everyone. I mean, I don't think that was the brightest thing to do.
Depends if they're Sunnis or what's the other one?
Shia.
Shia.
Well, the Iranians are Shia, and all the people they just bombed were Sunnis.
The story is that the only reason why the US went in was because Israel was going to go in.
That's always the reason.
And the result of that would have been attacks from Iran on US bases anyway.
Yes.
So why just play a defensive role? Let's go in and bloody their nose. We're not going to be able to stop it, so let's get in there first. I mean, that's the argument, but I still think it was a bad move on the US
only
side.
move. You can't allow.
Well, you could play that defensive role and then say, okay, well, Iran attacked us first.
It doesn't matter who attacks who first.
Well, it does in the public sentiment. You're trying to get people to support what you're doing, and Trump is taking a lot of flack from this, and he's losing a lot of people's support, including mine, by doing this. And there's a lot of the influencers that got him elected in the United States, which we talked about on last week's show, that are no longer supporting him.
Do you want Iran to have nuclear weapons, or at least
that wasn't? But Netanyahu's been talking about that for 30 years. Oh, they were a week away from having a nuclear weapon. Blah blah blah. They can bomb it and bomb them at any time, just like Trump did.
They can probably make a dirty bomb really fast.
Trump bombed them not long ago, and they're all saying how successful this mission was to wipe out their nuclear capabilities. And then a few months later, they're a few days away from getting a nuclear weapon again. As I said to you last week, this is weapons of mass destruction all over again.
I don't accept that.
Well, of course you don't, because you like seeing bloodshed and people die and poor families getting blown up.
Well, it doesn't disturb me the same way it does with you. But
well, it just proves one thing too, that the Iranian war stuck. They can't fight a war on their own ground.
No. The Iranians?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because where's their resistance? A few drone bombs. That's about it.
Yeah, they've been using proxies.
But they have a lot of troops. Millions. I mean, that's how they keep the population in check.
Of questionable loyalty.
And how well trained are they?
Questionable loyalty. If they had questionable loyalty, the regime would have fallen over already.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Give it time. Give it time. As Victor said in your podcast, like these regimes often appear very strong, but they're in fact quite brittle and they can collapse quite quickly.
No, well,
that still remains to be seen, Richard.
Seen, mate.
Well,
the Revolutionary Guard's still solid. The Revolutionary Guard's still solid, twin.
So it would seem.
Dave says, "Oh, come on, nuclear weapons, BS."
It doesn't have to be a nuclear weapon. It can be a dirty bomb. It can be a biological weapon, and they can also buy one. They've got tons of money.
He's like, you guys in the chat crack me up. Right.
Who are these people? We've got people everywhere. How many people online?
Check out this comment from Dilemmas. This is a good one. Yeah, this is one of his best. Obliterated was the word used. If Iran built that quickly, we should hire them to build housing for us.
Good one. I like that. That's creative.
Yeah.
Has John the Boy been here today?
Yeah, he has. I've read a whole bunch of his comments. Dilemma says, fun fact, Iran has some of the strictest gun laws in the region and they are oppressed. Sounds familiar. Well, this is a big reason why they can't rise up against their regime. I mean, Trump's saying, rise up and this is your chance to take your country back. Well, what good is that when you don't have any weapons to do it with? I mean,
yeah, but
the military can just mow you down.
Unless the Republican Guard take over. Unless the Republican Guard.
But they
won't.
Okay, but if they're fanatics, they view death as an honor.
Yeah.
As you're going to the Holy Land. I mean, they're not afraid to die. Dying is probably the best thing that
ultimate
yeah, that's right.
martyr.
Exactly.
It's not a monoculture of fanatics. Most
But,
of the people
at the top it is.
Well, sure, but it's like it's the people further down that have actually got to stand and hold guns.
But they don't have the guns.
Well, in the army,
you're not going to. But if you're not going to arm, if you're this extremist regime, you're not going to arm people that are not completely on your side.
Look,
they're not Australians or they're not Americans. I mean,
Stephen,
these are
the whole point is they've got lots of hostile neighbours. They've got the Kurds, they've got the Turks, they've got the Azeris, they've got the Armenians, and they've got the Turkmen, and and just about everybody else doesn't like them much, like the Pakis and the Saudis and so on and so forth. So they could easily have foreign incursions and lose territory.
Big country.
Yeah. There's also.
Yeah, I didn't realise how big. I read something like that. It's 13 hours from 13 hour drive.
It's a big country.
Yeah, I didn't realize, and it's not
like France.
100 million people. I didn't realise.
90 million people. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realise how.
Yeah,
I didn't realise that. Yeah.
I mean, this is another thing. I don't think people realise what they're dealing with here. This is not just some little satellite state. This is a massive, big country.
It's not Venezuela.
They're backed by China. They're backed by
Russia. Yeah.
They're backed by some big names. They've got a lot of oil.
Look at how the Russians and the Chinese are standing back because there's a war happening. They're just standing back. They're not getting involved.
Well, I heard China wasn't thrilled about Iran attacking its neighbors. Didn't like that part.
But I mean, the Persians are only about 53%, I think, of the population. The rest is all minorities, and that makes them vulnerable to an external incursion.
Dilemma says, I give Storch a 8.5 for mental gymnastics.
Anyway.
John the Boy, you said it's John the Boy. John the Boy says, interesting, Israel invading Lebanon at the same time.
Oh, that's just to try and control Hezbollah.
Yeah, that's to deal with Hezbollah.
There's always an excuse.
Well, we've done it before.
Dilemma says, it's not the leaders of Iran, it's the entrenched bureaucracy of a country the size that's the issue.
Yeah, size of.
John the Boy, this is a good question for you guys. Will China feel emboldened by this in regards to Taiwan?
They'll still be worried about Trump just trying helping Taiwan. I don't think China will invade any country.
But the point is, China will be watching this very, very closely.
Observing what they do and stuff like that.
Yeah, their capabilities.
I think another thing. Probably this is my personal opinion. A lot of the intelligence has come from Israel and the US using the US firepower to kill the Ayatollah was Mossad data. It wasn't the CIA. That's for sure.
Is Israel directing the United States foreign policy?
No, of course not. There is the single issue with nuclear threat.
Oh, stop it!
But the American
Dave says your scarf might be too tight. No, this is Richard. This is him.
Trump definitely wanted to deal with Iran because Iran is funding all the terrorist organizations all over the Middle East, and they're getting in the way of what he wants to do, which is to bring forward the Abraham Accords and pacify the whole region.
That's the Abraham Accords.
So this is all Trump's agenda, and Israel's sort of like the deputy sheriff. We'll do the hard fighting for you.
Come off it! What's wrong with you? It's the other way around.
No, it's not.
Stephen, I think Mossad, the intelligence has come from Mossad, not from
absolutely.
America.
Yeah, everything's coming from
Mossad,
from Israel.
Yeah,
the data.
They just cracked the whip and America jumps. Israel says jump and America says how high.
Yeah, but Mossad said that the Ayatollah's in that house. You better bomb it now.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the intelligence
That's what I'm saying.
is next level. I mean, this is a new generation of warfare, definitely. And I don't have a problem with them going after the leaders. I'm more in favor of that. Like, for example, when they did that attack against, was it Hezbollah, where they blew up the walkie-talkies?
Yeah, that's
mobile
right.
phones.
Yeah.
The pages.
If you're going to attack the leadership of these groups, I don't have a huge problem with that. I would like more to see the leaders have some skin in the game. And if they're going to push countries into war, okay, well then you go on the battlefield then. I mean, apparently there's a hashtag going around saying send Barron. Okay, it's saying, okay, well if you want to put innocent people's lives on the line, well then you need to put your lives on the line as well. So if they're going to attack the leadership and cut the head off the snake, I'm not opposed to that, right? I mean, let the best man win. But when you're attacking innocent people that they're unarmed, they can't fight for themselves, they can't fight the regime that's there, and they definitely can't find the military of Israel and America. They're just sitting ducks. I have a big problem with that.
Well, you know, it's always been the case since World War One. Civilians have been bearing a bigger and bigger price.
And that's justified, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
You got to remember, Iran was probably...
It was called total war.
At the same time, Iran was behind some of these synagogue attacks in Australia.
Yeah.
the last 2 years.
Most of the comments of people there having conniption fits of
Have I polarized our audience? How surprising.
Do you know these people? Do you know these Richard Stephen? I haven't seen so many messages.
Dilemma. Well, Richard's firing them up. Dilemma says, has Storch gotten his $7,000 payment yet?
For what?
Dave says, boomers be booming.
All right.
Dilemma says, Barron is also too tall for military service.
Yeah, that's true.
At least we woke you up. Sprightly now. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, diesel or whatever you wanted to talk. I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything.
That's a massive. That's why if this war goes for months, we're in trouble in Australia. Well, we're in big trouble.
Well, it's exposed
our lack of infrastructure.
No, it's exposed our lack of politicians that know what they're doing. I mean, we've been talking about. We've had guests on this show talk about the 90-day fuel security that we're meant to have. We're meant to have 90 days worth of fuel.
And we've barely got 28 days.
And apparently Bowen admitted that the fuel that they've got on the books
is included on the ships coming in.
Yeah, including on the ships that are coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, we are in a lot of strife. I'm already getting reports from rural areas. They're already out of diesel. So this is not an issue that's coming. This is here right now.
Well,
and Bowen is not up to the task.
Barnaby said the other day, he said they've run out of diesel at Gunnedah because 60 BWW trucks putting into the cow for the cows sale.
And this is one of the points.
They can't get out of town because they've run out of diesel in Gunnedah.
This is one of the points we really try and hammer in on us with Australians for Better Government. You're getting these politicians who have come up through the union movement or they've been in local government for their whole lives.
Factional hacks.
They're political staffers. They've never lived in the real world. They've always had these cushy government jobs and they don't know anything about the real world. Suddenly they've got a ministry like Bowen, who's the climate change and energy minister, something critical like energy, and he doesn't understand what he's doing.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a brain in the first place.
Well, that's true. I agree with you. But if you had someone that had worked in the energy sector that knows how critical diesel is to the country, they would not allow our fuel supply to get so low to get us. We shouldn't be in this position we should have refineries that refine our own fuel in this country. I mean, it's just madness what these politicians have done to this country.
Net zero.
No, it's not just net zero. It's the unions that control the workforce in the refineries, and also the higher and higher emission standards and stuff like that. And there's no point in a company investing in a refinery.
Labor politicians. Talk about Labor. I think there's about 7-8 new ALP.
We've got a caller.
Oh, okay.
Let's welcome him on. David, welcome. This is your first time calling into the show.
Hello.
How you going, mate?
I'm good. I'm not sure if there's any echo here. I've got to get my kids to be quiet, but
yeah, there's a little bit of an echo. It's a bit hard to hear you, but we'll persist.
I might plug in some headphones if you want to.
Yeah. Okay. While you're doing that, I might just
quickly.
Go, Sam.
There's about 8 or 9 new MPs from Labor in South Australia.
Yeah,
and they're all staffers.
All staffers. Yeah. Well,
and
that's
there's two independents who are retired.
Yeah,
and they're endorsing the new independents. They're a chief of staff. They're staffers.
Yeah, right.
Really? Yeah.
Okay, David, we've got you now. Maybe just the audience doesn't know you yet. Maybe just quickly introduce yourself.
My name's Dave. I'm just a viewer. I think you and I have spoken on the phone previously, Stephen.
You're with the People First Party, are you?
Other than just almost falling off my chair when the gentleman in the middle, I forgot your name, sorry, started talking about the whole Iran, Israel, America scenario. That was a bit of a laugh. But more importantly, you're speaking about our national security, and obviously there's a lot of conversations getting thrown around with Barnaby Joyce jumping to One Nation and all that. But we have to remember that he is responsible to a certain point for some of the decisions that led up to this scenario. Like, he was part of the LNP. He did. If I'm not mistaken, there was about 4 refineries that closed under the LNP.
Yeah, the last 15 years, I think the last 15
thinking
years.
that he's going to be the solution to our problems. Re-electing the people that create the solutions to fix them is absolutely mental. In my
Hang on, was Barnaby Joyce energy minister?
Well, he did have a couple of he was Minister for Infrastructure, if I'm not mistaken.
He was more deputy. He was more deputy prime minister.
Yeah, he was deputy prime minister
and trade.
So I don't understand why this is directly Barnaby's fault. And Labor have been in for a term and a half as well. So going back to what the Liberals did 15 years ago is a bit of a stretch,
There's
don't
a
you
massive
think?
echo. Sorry, I might have to can it because it's.
Okay, mate.
Oh, hang on, no, we're okay now. Yeah. So what I was saying that with Barnaby being part of the LNP, he basically just sat by and kind of allowed this to happen. Like even when we're speaking about him signing up to net zero, that was party policy that Scott Morrison put into his office, and basically he backed it. He had a choice to sit there and say, no, we're not going to back it. And I understand that he did try and get a couple of exemptions or whatnot for no new taxes, but he was the wind in the sails of a lot of this stuff, and not specifically him, but well, to some point him, but in terms of the refineries, the LNP, that refineries did close under the LNP, and he was part of that machine, and it's a little bit rich coming from him now, sitting here saying, oh, we're sitting ducks, we've got no refineries, we've got no capability, but wasn't he part of the machine that saw them close during the 9 years of the Liberal Party, or Liberal National Coalition, sorry?
But doesn't some of this responsibility fall upon the Labor Party? I mean, as I just said, they've been in for a term and a half. I mean, why are we going
I'm not
back
going to
what
sit here and just
Joyce
right
did?
bash.
Sorry?
The refineries have been dying, one by one for the last 30 years. It's been going on for a long time, and there's no commercial opportunity for a company to build a new one, and that's probably the biggest problem.
I understand if there's no commercial opportunity, that is a result of the government at the time not creating an ecosystem where it can survive. I think that's a fair point. It's a fair criticism of the former Liberal government, and it's a continuing criticism now of the Labor Party.
Yeah. Also, we're not really finding any new oil either.
No, we're not. And again, that was Barnaby Joyce as the Deputy Prime Minister, put wind in the sails of net zero.
Well, Bass Strait's almost run out of oil unless you go deeper towards Tasmania.
I believe
that's more expensive.
I believe there's a lot off South Australia and the Great Australian Bight.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. It's environmental going on. That's the problem. That's the problem. Red tape and green tape. You just can't pee straight these days in Australia. Yeah. You can't get anything done because there's
red tape and green tape. But the LNP and the ALP together are the ones that put that tape in place. So sitting here saying that Barnaby Joyce is going to be the saviour of everyone, and sitting there relying on the benefit of hindsight to make these decisions now to say, oh, well, we've got no fuel, but where were you when it was happening? Where were you 4 years ago when everyone was calling out net zero, like not to do it? He doesn't like David Littleproud, but David Littleproud's got more balls than him to at least pull away the coalition. Like, fair enough, he went back crawling on his knees, but Barnaby was just like, okay, ScoMo, let's just sign up.
Okay, but what's the opinion polls? He's had two divorces, Littleproud, and they're polling 19%. They're in the gutter.
Yeah, I'm not, and I wouldn't be here to sit here and save David Littleproud or save face. I'm not a supporter of him either. I think Matt Canavan jumping in is a fantastic thing. It's great. I've got a hectic echo, so I'm trying to.
Well, I'll put Barnaby's balls against Littleproud's balls any day of the week.
And listen, to a degree, so would I. It's not a contest between Barnaby and David Littleproud. In my opinion, I don't think they were both equally terrible. Because, I'm 38 years old and I'm living through a time of Australia that's not that great, and it hasn't been that great for quite a long time. And the Nationals, the pairing of the Nationals with the big end of town in the Liberals has always confused me anyway, because I'm 38. I can't remember a time where a farmer's been happy, and that's dreadful. Like, these people are the ones that grow our food, and they're teaming up with the big end of town. That's always been a really good thing for me.
Are you from? Can I ask you, Dave? Are you in the bush?
No, I'm not in the bush. I'm in Shell Harbour. So I suppose, I'm about. It's a rural city.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. You're down the south coast.
Yeah, south coast. We're pretty close to farms. I can drive 5 minutes, and it's literally green, lush fields.
Well, I remember Alpine Park being full of cow paddocks.
Yeah, it was. It was at some stage. But I don't like to sit here and right bash and say
I knew a couple of guys that were carry dairy farms around Albion Park.
They're still there.
The
So they're still there. There is a lot of farmland around here, and
not much now. I went there about 6 months ago. So houses around Albion Park.
Okay, mate. I know you're struggling hearing us. Is there anything else you want to say before
I'll leave it at that. I won't mention anything about Iran and America. There's always
Okay. We'll call in again because he definitely thought-provoking comments, and we'll talk to you soon, mate.
Try and get the audio.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye, David.
I'm not quite sure what Barnaby Joyce has got to do with us finding out of.
He was in charge at the time, and he was,
he sold out with net zero.
Oh, of course he had to.
And it's like you could see that it was just killing him to say what he said.
Yeah.
But do politicians need to always be held accountable for the sins of the past? I mean, if they change their mind or change their view, or he's got a platform now. He's he's all over media. He gets on every type of media, and if he's prosecuting the case that should be prosecuted, isn't that something?
That's right.
I think your redemption point of view is very valid. He has given many mea culpas about agreeing to net zero, and other things.
I just think I think it's just a cheap political shot to try and hold that noose around his neck, because he's very, very strong on pushing back against net zero.
The Teals and the Labor did work prosecuting Morrison and Dutton as what they did 10 years ago.
Sure.
Yeah. It works. Politically, it works, mate.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
The thing with Barnaby, now he's with One Nation. He can say what he likes now.
Yep.
John the Boy says, Stephen, this is where you sneak in and add about ABG. Hey, mate, it's only because it's applicable.
Yeah.
The stuff that we're talking about at Australians for Better Government, this is a big reason why we are having these discussions, and a big reason why we are usually in the mess that we are, because you've got these idiots, these people that have, as I always say, political staffers and union hacks. What would they know about any of these issues? They're the ministers running these departments. What would they know about energy?
John?
What would they know about health? What would they know about finance? Why are we not putting people in these positions that know something about these areas? Why don't we have someone that has any... Shut up! Why don't we have anyone that is worked in the energy sector or worked in the health sector and be health minister running the departments like they do in America? It's not always successful there. You still get political hacks and people getting involved, but it would be surely a far better system than putting someone like Katie Gallagher as finance minister. She was being asked. She was being asked by someone. Was it Canavan? Canavan was asking the other day about her budget figures. She's like, she didn't even know.
That's right.
These idiots are in charge of our country.
That
was James Patterson. You asked her.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
$114 billion worth of savings.
Yeah.
And eventually it came out that she'd spent it all.
Yeah, I know.
Which sounds like that. Your ultimate dumb blonde housewife who goes, I saved so much money shopping the other day.
John the Boy says, I'll renew my membership. Don't worry. Well, you better, mate. Otherwise, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to come down to Victoria and make you sign up.
But John, at the same time, before we're interrupted by Stephen.
You were interrupting me.
I've been pretty good today. Give me a break.
You tapping the table every 2 seconds and scrunching up your.
Point I'm trying to say is, Barnaby, and same thing with Jared Rennick's people. They've got to have some vision.
Can you explain this big rift between the Jared Rennick people and One Nation?
I don't know.
Like there's so much volatility coming from the Jared Rennick people towards One Nation.
It's personal between Malcolm Roberts and Jared.
But why is it flown over to their supporters? I mean, it's so transparent.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't even try and hide it.
Do you think it?
But they're so similar. Like,
do you think in meetings they say, I don't like Malcolm Roberts, and is Malcolm Roberts telling people I hate Jared Rennick? I don't know.
Well, it's not. There's no hatred coming from the One Nation side, from what I can see. There may be some instances, but it just from comments I see or conversations I have at different events, the Jared Rennick supporters have they want to attack One Nation more than they want to attack Labor or the Greens or anyone else. And I don't understand it.
I'll ask on Saturday.
Okay. Well, what is this event? I thought it was a Libertarian One Nation event. What first people are going to be there?
No, that's the One Nation people.
Okay.
One thing I've noticed, I've gone to a couple of One Nation meetings. Most of them, I reckon 80% of them have never been in a political party before.
Yep. That's I'd say that's true.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, boys, before we finish up? We're almost at the 2-hour mark.
Already?
Richard, you've managed to stay awake.
2 hours.
He's got the scarf on. He's been up all night. Obviously, been getting hickeys all over his neck. And
gee, time's flying. I didn't think we'd get to 2 hours.
No, we don't want to see. Please, we don't want to see. Keep it on. Keep it on. Don't take any clothing off. On that note, we better wrap it up. Thank you for sticking with us, everyone.
Quick prediction: the South Australian election.
Don't make predictions, because I'm going to make a shirt of you one day that says I got that wrong. Because you're good at analysing the field as it is, but you're not good at making predictions. But if you want to make a prediction, go for it.
Libs win 8 seats, and One Nation don't win a lower house seat, but they win two seats upstairs.
I think One Nation will do better, and the Libs will do a bit worse than you think. I think the Tarago van will probably be more than adequate for the Liberal members.
Okay, we got some people people in the chat, which is good because they're good at explaining it. Lemmer says a lot of it is Rennick dying on the cross of his values, which he did. So did Craig Kelly as well, which isn't a bad thing per se, but compromise is going to be needed if we want to knock off some Labor seats. Well, as I say, you got to campaign from the middle. Dave says One Nation people are riding the bandwagon. People First Party are here to actually fix the country. One Nation will probably say they're here to fix the country too. Dilemma says I think People First time is yet to come. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I watched that interview he did with Carl Stefanovic, which was very good.
I'll tell you, he's going to get he could be the Joe Rogan, Carl Stefanovic.
I don't trust
mate. Him. He's getting hits everywhere, mate.
Yeah.
He's leaving Channel 9 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
This is his go. And he's got sponsorship. He's got sponsorship.
But who's he having on his show? what audience is he targeting? He's targeting the right wing.
That's right.
Nut jobs.
Yeah.
But I don't think he really expect. I don't think it's genuine. I mean, look at his comments during COVID.
Yeah, I know.
Now
he's a Queenslander.
So
don't be ridiculous.
He's kissed and made up now. But what I'm trying to say, his podcasts are getting really popular. He's got sponsorship now. He's getting hits.
Yeah,
it's really. I watch it.
Yeah,
I watch.
I've only watched the.
No,
Pauline's got the most. I think Pauline's got about 320 hits.
I haven't watched
320.
I watched the Rennick one. I did.
Jacinta?
No, I didn't watch Jacinta.
Barnaby?
I think one thing. I mean, I like Rennick.
Rennick's. He liked Rennick. He liked Rennick.
Yeah. But one thing I'll say about Rennick is not a good talker. Bright mind,
very smart man. Yeah,
very, very smart man.
Very smart man.
But he stumbles over his words way too much, and that may turn people off.
Not a great selling. He's not a great salesman.
Not a great salesman.
Like a Canavan or a Barnaby. Could.
Maybe that's what's missing from the People First Party. People First. Maybe they need a more salesman type person.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. But who can they recruit?
That's
right.
That's a big question.
Good looking chick.
I think Rennick's got the right concept. I think Rennick's got the right concept.
Yeah,
but is he the right salesman?
I don't think he is. Look, I think, and Dave says Rennick stumbles on his words, then Pauline is a retard. Look, I think he stumbles on his words because he's so active in his mind. He's he's thinking at 100 miles an hour, which is not a bad thing, but maybe politically it's holding him back.
That's right. He can't. He's not a retard like a Barnaby or Paul. No.
Barnaby's a retard.
Retard.
Oh, retard. Come close to the microphone so I can hear. Retail politician. Yeah. Any party? I don't really understand that comment. Well, the dilemma says the same thing. His brain, that's Rennick's brain, goes too fast for his mouth, slow it down for us dummies.
That's right.
He needs to work on that, and he can work on that. He just needs
he's been in public life for 7 years now.
It takes time. It takes a long time.
7 years.
You just need to, I mean, some people get really annoyed with that sort of stuff. I mean, if there's a buzzing sound or like little things can really annoy people, especially with audio. But visuals are not so bad.
But after 7 years of public life, he should have a bit more communication.
I think if you look at some of the other long-term politicians, they did get better.
Yeah.
It does take a long time.
A lot of people saying Pauline's retarded.
Fair enough.
I don't know, or that might just be the same person.
I'll tell you who isn't retarded. The daughter. The daughter's
Lee is very impressive. Yeah.
Yes. Lee
she did that pod. Did you read that pod? She didn't get that pod.
I found the host annoying.
He is annoying, but the way she talks, the way she communicates, she's a more modern person.
Yeah. All right, boys. Thank you very much.
She'll take over from Pauline.
Yeah, well, I think that One Nation will go a lot better under Lee Hansen. I think she's a polished performer. Yeah. So, okay, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. As I always say, please head to commandingthenarrative.com and sign up to the newsletter once I get around to writing it. I've been very, very busy of late. That's why we're doing this on a Saturday.
That's right.
We'd love to be able to do these podcasts at the set time every week, but unfortunately, we've got to fit it in with so many different things.
And you've got to work.
Yeah, a lot of things. So thanks for sticking with us, and we appreciate all the comments tonight. It's been really great listening to you guys and hearing your thoughts. And please come back and do it again soon. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks to all the commentators.
Yeah, thanks for that. Much appreciated.